Schedule a Zoom with me at gcexperts.com/Zoom.
The things I didn't see answered was insurance. What kind of insurance does the prime need to have?
Standard GNL 1-2, the same stuff you guys probably have had all your career.
Okay. What kind of threshold? Just like a $2 million threshold, or is that
I guess that's maybe stupid of me. GNL 1-2 is general and liability 1 million, 2 million.
Okay.
That was a dumb assumption to assume everybody knows what that is.
All right. So would it be better to structure the business, since we're 50-50 partners, would it be better to structure the business as her as the 51% owner since she's a female? Would that open up more doors, or
Are you asking a true false question or expressed as a percent?
both?
Okay. As a true false question, the answer is true. Expressed as a percent, nobody really gives a shit anymore. There's some things that women-owned small business can get that the rest of us can't. So if I could do it, I would do it. It certainly doesn't hurt. Okay, but it was a much bigger deal 30 years ago than it is today. But it's still a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've already decided that we would like to work with you. I guess the real question is, would you like to work with us?
The answer to that question is anybody. I turn a lot more people off than I turn on. And you can probably figure out why when you watch my videos. I mean, people I don't even know, I kick them in the teeth because they're not really sitting down and doing their homework. They think they're going to show up in this Zoom and they're going to find some guy going, and so here's the 7 key steps to become successful as a federal contractor. And if you do my system today at 49, that's what they think they're walking into, and they're just not prepared. If you've watched 10 of my videos, then you know my personality and you know that I hold people accountable. Like, dude,
Really?
if you invest money in my program, you should expect a return. Okay? So if you're money motivated, you and your team, was it Ashley?
Yes.
Yeah. If you guys are money motivated, then you're in the right place. I want people that are hungry for success because I was hungry. I am hungry for success. I want to enjoy that with you.
I mean, I looked at it like, yeah, I feel like I'm competent enough to tiptoe through the minefield, but why? When there's a guy saying, "Hey, here's the bridge, come right across."
Yeah. Well,
You
that's
know,
exactly what I do, for sure.
you know.
I mean,
I read the article that y'all put in the magazine.
oh yeah, show
Obviously
you.
there's things that you can't have access to, like the 100K letter. I've seen. I've done a little searching, but there's obviously things that can only be taught with the course.
Well, but it's 28 hours. I mean, if it was 3 hours, a smart person could probably figure out what that thing is, But imagine taking your entire career since you were, what'd you say, 13, 14 years old, okay? And then it's one thing to have that career and all that experience and all that, holy shit, make sure the customer does this because it's a bad outcome if they don't, like all those little gotchas that happened over your career, right? It's one thing to understand and look back, reflect, and apply skill sets associated with what you learned in life. I mean, we're all people. Some people spend their lives doing X or doing Y, and they get better and better at it over their lifetime. That's just the way a life works. Okay. But it's a whole other thing to sit down and really put together a 3-day engaging course that creates this bridge you're referring to. What we did is kind of unique. It's kind of special.
Oh, So if are you only able to bid to what your bonding capacity is? And if you bid and get awarded something outside your bonding capacity, how does that work?
Okay, that's a great question. I'm not sure I want to give the answer to that away. Let me think
Okay.
about this for
Is that
just a
is that
second.
something that's given away in the class?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Uh,
I mean, I can understand why you wouldn't because you post most of your videos. I mean, I
I
understand.
don't post most of them. You wouldn't believe how I can be a pretty dirty, mean guy when people aren't prepared. Um, but let me think about this for just a second. There are okay. I know how to handle this. I hope you got your thinking cap on. This one's going to be good. What is a bonding company? Do you know what is a bond? What are they doing there? What are they in the business of?
Selling securities.
Okay, well, securities backed bonding. So they already have the securities. They're guaranteeing to the federal government that the work's going to get done for the bargain. The bargain is a legal term. The bargain is what we agreed to. Okay? So they're guaranteeing the bargain on your side. What guarantees that when you're driving down the highway and you bang up some little old lady's car, what's the guarantee? What's the bargain? What happens if you bang up her car?
It's an insurance claim.
That's right. That the bargain is the insurance company comes in and makes her whole. Okay? So that's what the deal is with the bonding company. But let me ask you this. Suppose that you went to your car insurance company and said, I will never, ever, ever, ever. In fact, it's locked in that my car will only be driven one day a week on Sunday to church. That's it. The car's incapable of doing any other driving at all. What risk is your car to that insurance company?
Little to none.
So shouldn't you be uh, allowed to accomplish things with that car on Sundays with virtually little to no risk to that insurance company?
Yes, and that would be
Okay.
why, like RVs, you can get insured for like $110 a year.
That's right, because you hardly ever use it. In fact, I've got one sitting on the side of my house here. I don't think I've been inside of it in 4 years. Okay. We teach some methodologies that put your bonding company at little to no risk.
Yeah, I also know that you also have a bonding guy.
I do.
Yeah, I am a do my homework kind of guy.
I've been with him for 25 years. He's great.
uh, Ashley, do you have any questions?
You've answered a lot of my questions already.
Well, I
Chris was
mean, look,
concerned.
you got a unique opportunity here. I don't know. I've never heard of another person like me that's done everything from wind tunnels for NASA, water treatment plants for the Air Force, um, kitchen renovations for the National Park Service, power plants for the Navy on an island off the coast of California. I've been inside NORAD. I've worked on 4 presidents' homes, and I even replaced the carpet at the top of the St. Louis Arch.
Wow.
So what I have done is after I found you, I then went and researched and watched and I checked the FAR. I started. That's a hell of a read trying to read the FAR. That's massive.
It
That's massive.
is. Yeah.
I've also done a little searching on SAM.gov, but like I said, the videos I found that answered my questions, I sent those to her, and then I answered the questions I could from the learning I got from your videos to her and her husband last night, and that's why my list of questions is so minute.
Well, look, at the core of everything, we're all just people. I know I've said that before, but like the government, they're just people. You know, you know what the federal government is? The federal government is a piece of paper. Okay? You can't talk to the federal government. You can communicate with people who represent the federal government. It's the same way with a company. You can't talk to a company. It's all people. Okay? And it's not that I developed relationships over the years. It's not because I'm not a relationship kind of guy. You know, I'm not Sean's your friend, Sean's your pal. I'm a one trick pony. You know, I'm really good. For some reason, my brain was wired much like the same way your brain was wired as a go getter, a guy who there's always another construction job, right? I was wired from a young age to see kind of the whole picture, how the money works. And then all I wanted to do was get in between what the government was spending money on already and the people that knew how to do the work. So it's not that I'm a construction guy. I don't particularly really care about construction. I love the process of making money between what they're spending money on and the people that know how to do the work. Can I speak to a contractor intelligently? Sure. I know what 3,000 psi concrete is versus 4,000. What the gauge of the rebar is. Okay, what a slump test is, or a 24-day break, or a 21-day break. All the vocabulary of construction I learned over the years. It's not that I was out there doing it myself, though I started my career as a superintendent, so I saw a whole bunch of it. Because dad wasn't going to have a kid that didn't understand what the hell all that stuff
Yeah,
was.
I saw the story where you tell about your mom putting you on the plane, and
Yeah,
within 6 hours you're insulating ductwork.
yeah, that's a true story. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Pause.
Uh, I know it's a 8 to 10 day process for your wife to do the SAM registration. Uh, and that covers all forms of construction. That's like 31 NAISC codes, I think.
I refer to them as NAICS codes. I think that's the generally accepted term for them. Uh, it's actually an acronym. But yeah, that's what separates you from the guy who sells cake mix. Yeah.
Okay, so in setting our business up, do I need to set up any special NAISC codes on setting our business up legally, or to
You know what? As far as your business forming, there's no difference between you and the guy who sells cake mix or bullets or aircraft parts or any of the other
we
things.
just need an EIN and a bank account?
Basically, that's it. It's got to be a legal entity with the state, any state.
Yeah.
Okay, as long as it's a legal entity, so it could be a trust. Okay, although I've never done that, but it could be. It could be a sole proprietorship. Okay. In fact, one of my clients just got through setting up his SAM registration as a sole proprietor. Um, so, you know, it's just a process, all that kind
Okay,
of stuff.
well, was setting up getting the EIN through the state? That's a simple process. It's $150. It's back in like 3 days. I've already done that before. That's a simple process.
That's a simple process. You're exactly right. And then what happens is during the process with the federal government getting registered, they'll do a check with the state to make sure it's a
Yeah,
real
legal.
entity.
Verify that it's legal.
That's right. And then you'll either pass that or you won't, and then you'll move on to the next step. I want to say it's like 18 steps going through that SAM registration or something like that. But it allows you to save and move on to there's a check where they go and they verify and they come back, and it's just kind of a back and forth thing.
Well, I mean, I'm ready. I believe Ash is ready too. We wanted
Yes.
to talk to you before we set up our EIN with the state. That's our next move.
Sure.
And then I don't know if you hit the yes button. I know you got that yes no button.
um have you been watching the news with all the AI stuff?
Yeah,
Yes.
I seen you are also working on AI in the beta stage.
Yeah,
I use
I'm up
AI a
to
lot.
I use it. I have created my own. I'm now about 150 grand into it. Um, what it does is it never answers a question. So you have light and then you have a lens, okay? Let's say that the LLM, the large language model of AI, where they sent supercomputers across the entire internet to learn everything that they could ever, so they can answer every question and understand intent. What did you mean by your question? Okay. So my AI works a lot like all the other AIs, except for the lens. You got to keep in mind, we did over 1,000 federal contracts. I've got hundreds and hundreds of jobs in digital format on hard drives. Okay. Letters I sent to the federal government, letters the federal government sent to me, award documents, insurance documents, daily reports, certified payrolls, all the paperwork that you could imagine that somebody would do with the federal government. I've got all that. Okay.
Yeah, all the stuff that you can't get from AI.
That's right.
I've it'll give me like the stuff that you can find in a general search through SAM.gov and things like that.
But it
The
can't figure
extra
out.
technical stuff it can't give me.
That's right. So there's two things that my AI has to do before it gives any of my clients an answer. It has to go get the LLM answer off the internet or whatever, however that works. But then it has to run it through my database and my workshop training because we teach a lot of out of the box thinking. So it can't give you an answer until it runs it through both and then frames it in the way that my dad and I teach things. It frames the answer. You can't get that anywhere else.
Well, no, that's the reason why
Perfect.
after seeing and verifying that you wasn't full of shit, that all your
Yeah.
all your facts were facts backed by facts.
That's right, backed by public information.
By facts, and then like it astounds me the amount of people that could have, not only did they not watch the 1 hour video, but like they say they spent X amount of time watching little videos, like, but you didn't really do no extensional homework on the guy. Like it astounds me.
It used to be that I didn't publish videos. I was worried that someday somebody was going to figure out exactly what I'm doing and then try to copy me. I was
I,
worried about it.
I saw that video where the guy like copied you 1-to-1, and then you
Yeah.
had the lawyer call him, and then he done it again, and you checked him, and he was like, "Well, I'm not going after him because he does not even saying factual shit. Like he's saying FDR created federal
Yeah.
contracting."
Yeah. That was the most hilarious thing. I've got, I don't know, 100 videos of that guy. I really took my time. I took a couple of weeks out and really deep dove into that guy. Weirdo, but regardless. So what I was saying is that my AI now is tied into my Zoom meetings. It's something called an API. I forget what that stands for, but they can so it can figure out the intent of the conversation. Am I having fun? And it clicks the yes button now for me.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
I've
So
had so much fun putting this together because I giggle. Like I put together a marketing agent for this thing, an AI. And I had it send a message. My dad emailed it and it figured out who he was. And it wrote him back. You're Doug? The Doug Reitmeyer? The guy who started this whole. It like was fanboyed out on him. Seriously, cracks me up.
Oh,
So we're ready to go ahead with what we have decided to do. And we had those few questions because Todd did a great job of answering all the questions I had by going through everything you've already put out, except the insurance and the bonding.
Sure.
And I just wanted to make sure you were real, like 100%, like even in person, as real as you were in your videos, and you are. So
Yeah, you shouldn't see any difference between me here and me anywhere else. By design, I this is just the way I am.
yeah,
People
that's what I was
people are
hoping.
people are going to get that or they're not, and if they don't, I'm not having a good time.
Yes, that's what I wanted to see in here. Like you were as real in real life as you were in your videos.
Yeah.
So, do you have any other questions? I mean, you.
I don't have any more questions. Any other question I have, I'm sure would be answered in the videos. And I know
Yeah, the workshop.
if there's any question that we have during the video, he said we could pause it, call him, and he'd answer the question then.
No,
Okay.
everybody gets my personal cell phone number, and I got to tell you, you guys are coming in at a unique point in history where I've switched from the old way of doing things to the new way. Every 7 years over the last whatever, I always sit down and reflect on where have we been, where are we at now, and where does this thing need to go? I've done that my whole life. It drives my wife nuts. She actually said at dinner the other night that I do it every 3 years, uh, but what happens is I just go into a deep dive of just 18 hours a day until I feel like I'm steering the ship in the right direction. Perfect. Every single detail down to the gnat's ass. I've just always done that my whole life. It just happens. Okay. I find out something new. I learn something. I see something and I go, okay, this kind of changes everything. Look, a year ago, if you guys had joined my program, you'd have been doing things the same way that I've been doing them for the last 3 or 4 years. Exactly the same, no difference. What you're starting to see with these newer videos that I'm putting out is it's obvious that another change has happened. A year ago, I didn't have access to AI the way that I have access to it today. Okay. Bid tracker, what you guys have seen in videos, is not the same as it was 4 weeks ago. It's now all AI. You're interacting with a real AI to help you find, bid, negotiate, and perform federal contracts. I've got 2 AI agents that you will be dealing with to do that. I named them Trip and Johnny. They are already helping people win federal contracts, profitable federal contracts. I had a discussion with a real electrician that's in my program named Ryan Jacobson. It's been in my program for probably 6 months. He said, Sean, I'm on a job right now with a 1600 amp electrical service. He says, I'm staring at a 1600 amp electrical service. I asked Trip this morning about this job that we're going to bid on for a 1600 amp electrical service. He said, I just read the proposal he put together and it's better than anything I could possibly put together. He said, how much do you trust it? I said, fuck, Ryan, it's like anything else in this world. If it makes sense, okay, use common sense, compare it to what you're seeing, and what is your brain telling you? What's your gut telling you? And he said, Sean, it's perfect. I said, then just turn it in. What's your risk for turning in the bid?
Zero.
That's right. What's your risk for turning in the bid?
There's zero risk. Even if they make it a contract, it's still not a contract.
It's still not a contract. That's exactly right.
Like I mean, I understand why people can't grasp the concept. It's a lot of paperwork, but with AI, paperwork is made easy.
My agents, Johnny and Trip, will both fill out bids for you. If you give them your cage code, your UEI, your address, your phone, in fact, it asks you, it says, hey, I'll fill out the paperwork for you, but I'm missing this, this, and this. If you give it to it, boom.
Well, that alleviates the question I was asked last night. They said, well, how are you going to bid? How are you going to know what to bid? I said, well, I'm going to take the bid. I'm going to load it into AI. I'm going to ask AI to tell me what other jobs like this were awarded for. I said, they don't have numbers to go off of.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
I don't have I'm just ready to go ahead and get started and do something that actually.
My intent is to blow y'all's minds.
To well, really, that was already done by previous videos before the actual person.
Well, I'm rapidly approaching the concept that anybody can run $100 million a year federal government construction company from a cell phone. I'm not there yet, but that's what my goal is. The 18 hours a day that I'm putting into this is what my goal is.
It's well on its way. It's well on its way.
I'm rapidly trying to get there. I was up till 3 o'clock in the morning on that mission.
Well, your way is a lot better than the way we have been doing things for a while. Not working.
Well, yeah, because you're interacting with people. And the problem is they have to pull money out of their pocket in order to pay you. And that's a huge difference when the federal government pays. You have to be, my favorite word in federal government construction is entitled. You're going to hear me say it many times in the workshop. You're going to hear me say it. It's my favorite word. Because when you're entitled to something, it can't be taken away.
That's very true.
When you're entitled to something, it doesn't matter how you ask for it. Because they have to do it by law. It's a totally different perspective.
Yeah. Why fight for something when it's out there giving them? They're just giving it away.
And it's already allocated. Look, it's not that they're giving it away, but I mean, I get the concept of what you're saying, the premise, but you know, it's unique. It doesn't exist anywhere else.
For the amount of work you have to do as a prime versus the amount of work you have to do as actually somebody with tools in their hand.
Yes, that's a huge difference. But it's also like, for me, it's a godsend because I'm not a people person. I'm just not. It's not wired into my brain to check in on people and how you doing, what you do this weekend, how are the kids, all that kind of crap. That's just not wired into me. And personalities, as I talk about, are different. And because I'm not a relationship guy, it's the only environment that I can succeed in because there's a set rules. Okay, I do this, you do that. If there's a conflict, we have a way to settle the conflict. It's already all mapped out as a process. And so I can succeed in that world because, 9 out of 10 people I get into these Zooms with, I never hear from anybody again. I'm sure because they're hanging up the Zoom going, fuck that guy. Who'd want to work with him? Which is okay with me because of the decisions I made in my life with the federal government. It's really unique.
So I feel like unique is what we were looking for instead of standard run of the mill, what everybody else has been doing. And we don't really want to do that.
Yeah.